And today our adventure will begin right here off these railroad tracks, this railroad crossing. And this here is the corner of West Church Street and South Railroad Street here in the small community known as Canita, North Carolina. It's going to be a fun day today. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I will be driving out toward the Outer Banks today, and on my travels, I want to stop and check out some small towns, check out some of the communities along my way. I'm kind of on a schedule today, so I will be hitting a few towns, not a lot, but on my way back, maybe I can hit some more and make a whole nother video. Should be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. It is quite brisk. Old man winter finally arrived in North Carolina, at least in the eastern part, because it is very, very cold today. It's about 33 this morning after 9 a.m. Pretty chilly, but it's going to be a good time. Thank you for hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and get started. And I decided to start off my video right here at this old convenience store. Looks like it's been abandoned and closed down for quite some time. And check out this picture right here. It's a hot dog with some mustard, and he's even got a little bowl of chili. Check that out. That's pretty cute. A very rustic looking place. It's been shut down for quite a while, I would imagine, because this little like cedar tree here is really starting to take over and block stuff. But you can actually see got you a little chef in here. They used to do a little bit of cooking inside of this very store. And I absolutely love this old rustic kind of partially fade away like murals, wall murals on this place. Wish I knew a little bit more about it. But I was just driving along and happened to see this here. I mean, check out these happy little bunny rabbits right here holding hands. That is so cool. That is so awesome. But yeah, right up there, it actually said convenient at one time. That old lit up sign, or it used to, obviously the lights don't work no more, but you can definitely make out it says convenient right there. So this was pretty cool. Maybe it was like half of the store was shopping for groceries and goods like that. Maybe the other half down there we looked at was like a hot dog stand maybe. But nonetheless, this is pretty cool. I love finding little hidden treasures, or they're treasures to me. When I find like little nuggets like this, it's really cool. And check this out. I'm actually headed to the Outer Banks today, and right here looks like a artistic drawing of the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Yeah, even got a seagull up there. How cool is that? Okay. We're going to push on and move into our first little town I have planned for us to go visit. A little town called Bethel. Okay, I made my way into the town of Bethel. And I really like the house there. I know it needs a paint job, but that is really cool. Really pretty. Just want to kind of check out the neighborhoods a little bit. That's a nice home too. I love that front porch. Check out this little store or whatever this used to be. It doesn't look like a gas station. I don't really see a place for gas pumps or anything, but nonetheless, it's very interesting to see this little brick hut. Okay, I'm here at the town center of Bethel. This is definitely what they call a one-stoplight town, And right across the street, across the railroad track, is the Bethel Pharmacy. Very quiet little area here. Bethel was established in 1873. And the population here is about 1,987. with a median age of 45.8. And check out this art they have right here. This is kind of cool. This is pretty cool, man. Check that out. That's the old fire extinguisher. And they turned it into a dog. A happy dog at that. Look at that tail standing up. How cool is that? Yeah, this is really neat stuff. We have a buck right here with all kinds of stuff. Right here's some kind of a sprocket on the side of it. Some people have so much talent. You know, they can take just junk and turn it into art. And I'm really digging the dogs. I don't think I've seen art like this before in different communities, but I don't ever remember seeing dogs like this before. That is really awesome. And check out this ghost sign right here. It says Heinz Ice Cream. And it actually has like maybe a hot fudge sundae or something right there. That is an old ice cream sign that is almost completely faded away. That is a good ghost sign. Love it. So as we walk down through the town of Bethel, as I can hear the church bell chiming off in the distance there, let's talk a little bit about the demographics of the town. So here in the town of Bethel, white is 30.5%, black is 63.76%. We have American Indian is 0.05%, mixed race 1.56%, and other race is 4.08%. And it looks to me like as the wind really starts howling, a lot of these storefronts here are pretty much abandoned. Not a lot going on. A lot of this stuff looks to be closed. So next up, let's talk about income for the town of Bethel. So income per capita is $24,076, which is slightly below North Carolina at $26,779 and the national average at $29,829. And then we go down to the median household income is $42,500. And once again, it is just slightly, a few $1,000s below the North Carolina average. And the national is at $55,322. Not too bad. And then the poverty rate here is only 19.5%, which is slightly above the North Carolina 16.8 and the national at 15.1. So even though there's a lot of, looks to be abandonment here on the main drag of downtown, the main thoroughfare, the numbers don't look as bad as I would probably have thought. And right here, we have a place called Margie's Studio and Gallery. The Mudslingers. And there is an unhappy pooch inside there as we walk around. Morning. Okay, I'm over here on West Railroad Street. And this is where some kind of business used to be at one time, as it's pretty much removed. But I found another mural. It actually says barbershop up there, but it says enjoy. And I think this used to be another one of these Heinz ice cream murals. And the reason I'm thinking that is because of the hot fudge sundae that we've seen earlier. Right there is another one. So Heinz ice cream at one time was a really big thing in these parts. So I had to do a little bit of research about this Heinz ice cream thing. I've never heard of it before. I've never seen it. Maybe I'm not old enough. I'm not sure. I just know in my lifetime, I was not around it. Love ice cream. So it makes me want to know what Heinz ice cream is. And it actually dates back to right after World War II. A businessman by the name of Roy H. Park actually approached the Heinz company. And this is before they was even making like, mixes to make baked goods and stuff at home. So in 1949, they formed the Heinz Park Foods Incorporated, and their goal was to bring high quality, trusted products into American homes. Their first product under the name was actually ice cream, not a cake mix. The ice cream was marketed as a richer than typical commercial ice cream, heavier with significantly higher butterfat content. sounds good. I'm freezing right now, but still, just the outline of their ice cream sounded very, very tasty. So as you can see here in the town of Bethel, it looks like we have some construction going on. In the past, they obviously removed the building that was sitting right here, and it was attached to these other buildings. But here in the future, we're going to have a place here called Coffee Shop and More. It's going to be a 2-story coffee shop. I'm telling you, man, everybody's really into the coffee these days, even in the small towns. It's going to be nice. That's what the first floors are going to look like. Yeah, that's a nice sitting area. And then on the upstairs, it's going to look something like that. You're going to have some more seating. Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. That's just so awesome. I love it when these little small towns are revitalizing a little bit. And I mean, you can't go wrong with the coffee shop, people. Ain't that right? There's a lot of coffee drinkers in this world. Okay, next up, let's talk about crime. So total crime in Bethel is about 1.07 out of 1,000 people, which is not bad at all. That's really, really good, actually. Well under the North Carolina and the national average. And then violent crime, just the same, very, very low. It's only a 173 estimate out of 100K. I mean, that ain't very much at all, which is always good to hear. So I come across this really awesome mural. Now it has nothing to do with Bethel as far as I know, because there is no mountains here. As you can see in the background, that's definitely some very big mountainous areas. But that is just a really cool mural. I wanted to show you this train. And speaking of trains, right here along this train track, if we look across the street, they have an old train depot over there. So I think we're going to have to make our way over there and check out that train depot. Maybe talk about the fun facts of this community a little bit. All right, as you can see, this here is the storefronts. We just walked down along the sidewalk there. And this is indeed where the Bethel train depot is. And the train depot and the railroad is how Bethel was born. Bethel began to grow in the late 1800s when the railroad came through the area, turning a small crossroads community into a town with new businesses and travel opportunities. And here is another fun fact about Bethel. It is one of Pitt County's oldest towns. Bethel was officially incorporated in 1873, making it one of the earlier established towns here in the region. So this town is definitely a tobacco town. For decades, Bethel was surrounded by tobacco farms and warehouses that helped shape the town's economy and culture. Okay, I made my way over here to the front side of the Bethel Town Hall. And I just wanted to give you another fun fact about a musician that is from Bethel, North Carolina. If you're a fan of jazz music, maybe you have heard of this person. It is the birthplace of a fella by the name of Billy Taylor, who is a legendary pianist, composer, and broadcaster who became a major figure in the American jazz scene from Bethel, North Carolina. I always try to find if there's any celebrities in the area when you go to some of these towns. Sometimes I miss them, sometimes I get one. Today I actually got one. Okay, I just walked down the railroad track here a little bit further, and I come across this church right here that needs a little work, needs a little paint maybe, looking a little rough for wear along the sides there, but still very interesting looking place. This right here kind of caught my eye a little bit. See how that kind of goes up? It looks like it needs a spire, right? Like something maybe used to be there and it was removed. Not really sure. But when I seen this church, it made me think about the name Bethel, which comes from the Hebrew word meaning house of God, which likely inspired by early area churches that served the community centers here in the area. So that supposedly is how the town Bethel actually got its name. It was actually from the local churches here at one time. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little fact find that I found online. And when I seen this Bethel Church of God, it just, I don't know, it just felt like a good time to tell you that little bit of information. Okay, right next to this church is an old homestead that has a lot of wood and things like that over the windows. Looks like it's mostly abandoned. Don't really see a whole lot of movement or cars or anything parked there. But look at this place. Directly across the street. I mean, you could take this home and put it in a horror movie and it would fit perfectly with no work. I mean, this has got to be one of the creepiest places in town. I mean, it's in bad shape too, because when you zoom up and you look along the roof line up there, you can actually see blue. You can see skylight on the backside. So don't know what's happening back there. Not going to enter the yard or anything like that. Nothing's posted, but I still just don't stand out here and just walk out in front of it. Love finding creepy old homes like this. I think they are awesome. They're just neat to see and view. And right next to it, that place there don't look nowhere near as bad, but I actually like this one. Needs some work done. As you can see, the porch up there is having some issues. But yeah, this place right here, it's in a league of its own, I do believe. That is cool. I wonder what the heck's this scaffolding right here for, because you know they're not like revitalizing that place. Surely. I mean, that place is rough. It is really looking bad. All right. I think that's going to pretty much do it for the town of Bethel. So let's move on down the road. I need to get back in the truck and get warm. My fingers are about to freeze. And see what else we can see today here in eastern North Carolina. Bethel was awesome. And out here in the middle of all this farmland here in eastern North Carolina, I did not know this, but there is an old racetrack out here. East Carolina Motor Speedway. Look at that. Saturday night racing at 7 p.m. Now, this is a real relic. They got their website. Right there's their Facebook page emblem. And look at this. Before it was X, it was once Twitter. And they still have it right there on the sign. How cool is this? And right there is the racetrack off in the distance there. Way out there. It's been shut down for quite a while. So I looked up a little information about this track real quick because I wanted to learn a little bit about it. So the first season here at East Carolina Motor Speedway was held in 1990. It is a D-shaped oval measuring in 0.37 mile asphalt oval. The turns are banked 24 degrees, which that's the same banking that you would see at like Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is a 1.5 mile track. So this is kind of like a little bull ring. That is really cool. The straightaways are banked 10 degrees. The track is about 40 feet wide, allowing for some exciting multi-car racing. It has a seating capacity of around 3,000 spectators. Famous drivers like Ernie Irvan and Dale Earnhardt Jr. have competed here at this racetrack over the years. And the track went through several closures and changes of ownership until it finally closed, unfortunately, in the year 2020 when, you know what happened in 2020. It closed everything down. And this track, unfortunately, saw the brunt of it. It has never reopened since then, but all that being said, I would not frown, because a little place like this can definitely be saved. I mean, look at North Wilkesboro. It was closed for 20 plus years, right? And it reopened and NASCAR races there again. So this was a NASCAR sanctioned track at one time. I think the Wheeling Modified Series actually raced here, and probably a few others. I just didn't have access to that information. I didn't know I was going to find this little gem. And I'm an old-time NASCAR fan. Don't really follow the sport as much now at all, but I don't like the new cars. I don't like the formats. I'm a little bit more of a traditional Winston Cup fan, but just wanted to come by here and document this little place. Really cool find. So now I'm going to get back on the road and push on toward our next town. Okay, I've made my way to the town of Robertsonville, right here on the corner of School Street in Academy Street. And I'm learning something. Robertsonville has some abandoned stuff. You know, the East Carolina Motor Speedway was abandoned. But look at this place, this old school right here. This here is the old Robertsonville High School, built in 1929. After the high school closed in 1975, it was used as a junior high middle school until December of 2000. And I find it kind of interesting that they have some old fire trucks out here. But nonetheless, this is really awesome. I mean, check out that old fire engine. And they got another one right down there, and right there is the main building. Hopefully the sun is not blacking it out too much, but that's a really cool looking structure. All right, I made my way over here on the side of the school, right off the street. And I wanted to show you the water fountains up here. Check these old school water fountains out. Right outside the door. That is pretty cool. Actually has the words Murdoch on it. Right down there is the pedal to push to get your water to spring up from the fountain itself. And right across the street from the school is this old abandoned creepy looking home. Look at this place. Wow. I'm telling you, nature took this place back over. That is for sure. Just all the vines, the little trees, everything is just springing up, just grabbing that house, and it's just like it's starting to pull it down. I mean, it's wild. Even look at this sidewalk right here. How the grass is just slowly kind of feeling over the sidewalk, trying to erase it. But man, this house right here is something to see. That is awesome. And I'm gonna tell you something. You can't even really walk to it because that is all briars. This whole front yard area is nothing but a bunch of briars. Because you know me, I thought about it, but you know what? It's not worth it. I can sit right here on this very old sidewalk, what's left of it, and film this old abandoned home. And check this out. This here is their front walkway. Right here where this old lamp is. It's kind of sad when you think about it. You know, this was somebody's home, family, good times were probably had happen in there. Thanksgiving dinners, Christmases. And now it's just a lost memory. It's kind of sad. Look at that old weather vane up there on that center peak of those three windows. And right here is some of the homes here in Robertsonville. Boy, that was a really nice one back in the day. I know it's not very pretty today, but in its own way, it's still got a beauty to it. Yeah, that's cool. Big old porch. The front door's open on that one. Okay, I've made it here to the downtown area of Robertsonville, here in Martin County. So here's their town hall. And Robertsonville was officially incorporated February of 1870, and it was named for Henry D. Robertson, who donated the land for churches, schools, and the civic buildings. And speaking of awesome buildings, look at that one right there. It actually says Town of Robertsonville up there, and that is the municipal building. That is an old bank. Now, as you can see, the town of Robertsonville is definitely a railroad town. Robertsonville took off in 1882 when the Wilmington and Weldon Railroad built a line through the area. The town grew rapidly around that depot. And tobacco was king here. For decades, Robertsonville was a major tobacco market. At one time, it was home to one of the largest tobacco warehouses in eastern North Carolina. You will find 1,269 is the population as the 2020 census. And right here on Southwest Railroad Street at the East Carolina Collectibles, they buy, sell, and trade. You will find that one of those population is possibly a stormtrooper. I knew I was being watched. Okay, I'm gonna make my way across the street here because this is a pretty awesome looking structure here. Bank of Robertsonville. And it even has a little plaque right here. Let's go up here and check this out. Yeah, there we go. The Bank of Robertsonville circa 1910. Wow, restored in 1993 to 95 by A. Everett James Jr. and family. Okay, I'm making my way down the street here where we looked at the bank just to give you an idea of what's going on here. You can see a lot of these buildings seem to be abandoned. Not a lot going on this side of town. The median age for this town is fairly old at 50.6. And then when we talk about demographics in Robertsonville, white is 28.79%, black is 66.83%, Asian is 1.56%, and mixed race is 2.81%. Bicycles and skateboards prohibited on sidewalks Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And this old dilapidated looking building right here looked like it might have been part of a funeral service at one time, as you can see that sign right there. Very interesting. So as we walk down this sidewalk here, let's talk a little bit about income about this town, because we've seen a lot of abandoned places and things of that nature, but you would think maybe the income might be a little low. It's not too bad, actually. Income per capita is $22,841, which is slightly below North Carolina and the national. Median household income is $41,776. Comparing that to North Carolina's $48,256 and the national at $55. It's a little low, but I gotta say it's not as bad as I would originally thought, just by looking at, you know, some of the abandonment that we found here and some of these stores that are closed up. Look at that old building over there. It's got some kind of ghost sign up there, but I really can't make it out. It's all boarded up. And they have a few more places down through here. It's called Powell's Driving School. And they must be doing some type of renovation, maybe. Something like that might be going on. By the way, the poverty level here is 16.4%, which is below North Carolina's average of 16.8%, but slightly above the national average of 15.1%. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about crime. And once again, crime is really not a big deal here in Robertsonville. It's only 1.0 out of 1,000. 1,095 is their estimate out of 100K, which is well below the North Carolina and the national average. Violent crime is 176 estimate. And to put that in percentages for you, that is 48%. The total crime is 48% below the national average. Violent crime is 51% below the national average. And property crime is 48% below the national average. So crime is not a big deal here in this area. I mean, there's crime everywhere, but at least it's not some of the higher numbers that I have been seeing here recently recently in some of my videos. All right, right here on the corner of Southwest Railroad Street and North Main Street, they have this old abandoned, looks like maybe it was a service station at one point. Only reason I say that is just because of the double bay doors right there, and it's like parking area. I don't think they ever served, like, you know, had gas here or anything, but maybe it was just a place to go get your vehicle worked on, some maintenance done on your brakes, things like that, oil changes. Then as I walk around to the side of it, right here could have been the bathrooms, possibly. But check this out right here. This is an old beauty shop right here on the back side of this building. So, but it's long been boarded up too and abandoned. And right here on the opposite side of this old service station, theoretically it's a service station, have an old tour bus just hanging out right here. Then they have a really cool sign for the town. That's pretty awesome. And then they have, I gotta say this, there is no shortage of abandoned storefronts. I mean, it is just kind of everywhere. And this one is extra fascinating because this is an old motor company, it looks like. Because when I look up there at the very top, it says Cox Motor Company, 1921, and the other date over there is 1928. So they used to sell some vehicles out of this thing. But the last time I guess it was open, it was called Manuel Coleman Senior Ministries. But at one time, this old rustic building was some kind of a car dealership. And I have seen some wild looking houses today, but I don't think I've seen one that's going to beat this one yet. Look at that. That right there is pretty spooky. Yeah. Scooby-Doo wouldn't go in there. Which, I mean, let's be honest. Scooby and Shaggy was always kind of made to go into places like that because, you know, Fred had to look all strong in front of Velma and Daphne. Ain't that how that worked? But this is an awesome looking structure. And it is for sale. Right there you go. I know I read my comment section quite often. You know, some of these old places I show, people are always like, hey, don't ever complain about no housing and stuff like that, because there is a lot of cheap or cheaper land available. You just got to look for it. And this place right here, if you fixed it up, and I know that probably wouldn't be cheap, nonetheless, that's awesome. That is one big house. What would you think right now if we seen somebody like a ghostly apparition just peek out that window right there? Yours truly would be running. That is for sure. And look at this little old brick structure right here. It's all grown up. It actually says Farm Bureau on that door. How crazy is that? Was that an office? Why would that say Farm Bureau, do you think? And there's some more homes right down here, right around this corner. It is pretty rough for wear also. But I would imagine at one time these homes were really beautiful. I mean, just the architecture and the scale of everything is amazing. And this home right here, it looks like a fun house. I mean, this bad boy, it is actually leaning away from the road right now, the sidewalk. It's leaning back. I don't know if the camera is going to pick all that up or not, but that home is actually leaning back. It's actually caving in on the back side, and the whole front fascia is leaning backwards. Okay, I'm gonna walk back to the downtown area and check the far side, and then we're gonna wrap it up today. I'll have to go thaw my fingers out. It's good to have you here today. I really appreciate it. And as you can see, there is a lot of abandoned places here on this side of the town, just as much as the other side of towns. Do have a barber shop right here called Cutting Image, and they have a Robertsonville furniture store that is open on this side, and then you got the town hall. But everything else seems to be somewhat abandoned. So this building right here is very fascinating here in the town of Robertsonville, because this is the oldest non-residential building in town. And it looks like they got some Freemason signs going on up there at the very top. It says Stonewall on it, and it's got the number 296. So according to the National Register nomination form for the first Christian church, the Stonewall Masonic Lodge is the oldest non-residential building in Robertsonville. How cool is that? Stonewall Lodge number 296 was organized on April of 1869. The lot on which the lodge building stands was donated by the founder of the town, Henry D. Robertson, in 1871. The lower floor of the lodge building was used in its early years in interesting ways. Part of it functioned as a school run by Professor Stephen W. Otterbridge. So there you go. Oldest non-residential building in town. Has some really interesting history to it, because at one time it was a school. So that is pretty fascinating. Okay, and right here next to the Masonic Lodge is the First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. It's a very old church. And this one here is on the National Register of Historic Places. So they have a little plaque out here stating just that. It says the United States Department of Interior, First Christian Church, Disciples of Christ, organized 1876, built in 1913 and 14. All right. I think that's going to pretty much wrap things up for me here today on this little trip through some of these small town communities of Bethel and Robertsonville. And we're just going to end it right here at this old abandoned service station. I mean, I've showed so much abandoned stuff today. There's no better way than just go ahead, and we're just going to finish with a old abandoned service station here in Robertsonville. Really had a good time today. I hope everybody enjoyed today's video. Until next time, friends, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe. Hope to see you all again soon. So long for Robertsonville, North Carolina. It's been a fun one.